Welcome. What's up, punters, dribblers, traders, and investors? Another Traders Community podcast. Been a hectic after session, so we're coming to you a little bit later. We did try to do that live thing again, and we have more. We probably have the worst IT crew in the game, is the best way I can sum it up. So anyway, here we are. We had some really good earnings moves after the market. Some worked, some not so good, but big moves on DoorDash. That's been the star. Fastly was another one. Nvidia, CSCO, of course. A whole slew of these, and we're going to go through all those and others. Big day on oil. We were up big on it after the EIA. Then it slid quite dramatically. On talk that the US and the Iran have come to a deal. Obviously, President Biden has pretty well mucked it up. As we know with oil, we are at big lows on SPRs, like 20-year lows of storage. Cushing, which is key for WTI and out of Permian, etc. Lowest since 18. And think about it, in between all that, we had COVID, distillates low. So we're going to go through all that. Natural gas had another bit of a ramp today, and S&P was very, very choppy. We're going to go through that. We had the minutes out. We sold off on it and then came back. There seems to be a very confused market, given we have what it looks like the drums of war. We have multiple problems with inflation, all this stuff, and as we've said many times, this is the hallmarks of a bear market. So that's going on, all this chopping and changing. So Meta Johnny, as we said, has sailed off to, we'd love to say the South Seas, but he just went to Mexico. So I just got the glorious Madavi here, popped in after few sessions in the gym in the afternoon. So again, I understand the audio is a problem with what we're going on as far as the phone-ins, but that's how they used to do these things back in the day. So we never said we were sharp when it come to that sort of thing. Okay.
Let me know if you hear me or not. Anybody? If not, you probably have to turn up my voice. I'll try to speak loud.
Yeah. Have those dulcet tones working, right? So here we are. Let's bring this over. So let's have a quick look where we are right now. We are a little bit later than normal. It's 5:26 Central Time in God's Texas. Is that what they call it? The Promised Land, all that sort of stuff. Anyway, so we are on 3-minute charts right at the top of the grid on the S&P's 4472, the Russell 2000, 206, the Nasdaq 14,611, and oil it's on the base of the night pretty much, 89.35. That's probably, if you were just day trading, you probably haven't seen it this low. It has been under 89, and then Natty, as you know. We'll go through that in a minute. So let's start off. How about we start off? We know, so pretty well the overview on oil down off that top. We've been showing it for a number of days, weekly, daily. Remember, we have a plan, and we put that out on Twitter. Hopefully you shaped it from that side. We also assume we got that. We're not on Twitter much, but if we get it, we do jump out of the room, and we did put on that Iran news pretty quick, around 93 or so. It was already coming off. It should have been short and buying puts and stuff, and a few people hit us up on that. Anyway, without further ado, let's start with the stocks, shall we? The main one, as we said, was Dash, or DoorDash, and let's have a look at that. So that's a weekly chart. It's not going to do us a lot of good. So let's have a look at a Dash here. Whoops, sorry. Where are we? Over here. Yeah, there we are. So, sorry, I've got this all jerry-rigged. So let's have it. This is when was this an IPO? Not long ago, right? Was it a couple of years ago? Or?
A couple of years ago, or last year, or something like, something like. It hasn't been too long.
Okay, so this was quite the bloody trader, right? So I'm going to bring it down. We're going to start it with 3 minutes to show you what happened. So, well, actually, let's go back to see where it came from. So I know I wasn't expecting this sort of action, but I don't really watch it. So this is more a punter's stock. I wouldn't call this a dribbler's stock. It wasn't really a favourite of them. Different investors got in. It did have a phase when it was in that COVID thing. But so you can see it had been coming down. Oh, it had dribbler action. So maybe we do toss it in that bin, mate. 250 down to 80. To 250 back in November. Wow, that's quite the destruction. And then here's earnings today. This big bar in the bottom was 84. The top was 131. So let's look at what it did. Let's go to a 30-second chart. Okay, so if you want to talk... So the earnings I haven't actually looked at because we've been just trading lots of stuff after market and doing it. But so we traded the market's reaction on this stuff. So here we have, it looks like the earnings dropped and it actually fell initially from 92 down to 81, which I believe you did a glorious trade there. This is pretty well why you got your name, trades like this.
Before, and I always know most of the time on the first move is most likely a head fake. You know, I always try to catch the second one. So when I see this thing jumping in, I got in 87.30, and it went down 6 more points below me. And I was like, oh, man, this is going to be bad. I didn't buy it. I don't know, okay size, you know, nothing very super on the first move. When it moves like that, it's, you know, always try to catch the second one. Harry, so when I see this thing 6 months and I got into some of my comrades over here, but a lot of them weren't paying attention.
Johnny, you there?
Someone
was in a bunch of other stuff, and I was like, whoa. And I did, and what's funny is, and this is where I have a good teamwork, but I always get, and everyone, I always get Dash mixed up with Grub, you know. So, I mean, I'm not buying it. Then so after the event, I looked at it, and he goes, "Why didn't you tell me that?" I go, "Why didn't you tell me?" Was in a bunch of other $20. Well, I tried to, and I did, and what's funny is, and this is where I have a good teamwork, but I always get.
You're like, I'm busy. I'm like, man, I don't think so.
Yeah, and when we go through the stocks that I did instead of this, okay. But in reality, though, you're not going to do, well, I'm not going to do a lot of size on something like this anyway, so.
You need a lot of size in a stock that runs 40, 50
Yeah, I'm trying to feel good about myself.
Yeah, I just want to be like hit the lotto or something, but...
Right.
You know, when you have a lot of shares in this, you get stopped out of these because sometimes when that thing was dropping to 81, even though I didn't have a big amount of shares, but I still felt like I wanted to just sell it at 81 and just get out of it for a second.
Right. And so that's often the thing. So if you're from that buy, and you know that's hopefully been cleared out, but when in that period where everything just went up and people just holding them $50 against them because they go up, well, that's a different mentality. That's not our one. But if you've noticed the way we're trading these things is taking advantage of the gaps and the holes and people going one way. Now they're not. So this is kind of new into the bear market. Sorry. So you're still getting a lot of. So what you're getting is very liquid. Market makers and that aren't in it, and a lot of the dribbler punter mentalities out there. So you want to trade knowing that. And we'll go in this one too. You can see. So you bought this and you wrote it up into here, right? From memory.
Well, yeah, I wrote it. It kept on going up, and I was like, "Damn, this is going." Then I was not patient with the trade again. This is the mistake. I get into good trades not
trade
patient
knowing
with it,
that.
and I will maximize my gains. I should have maybe
We'll
sold
go,
it
and this one too.
I got out at 115, which I'm kind of disappointed because it was 131. So I think I could have done better. So I kind of upset myself about that. You know? So, and that was, Nate's like, no, I'm on in great trades. I'm like, I think I got a better one for you.
And that you did. That was a brilliant trade.
I got lucky. I was able to hold on to it, and because I didn't see. I originally got into it when it bounced from 80. It's hard to get into a stock when it hits 81 and it's bouncing up because it's going so fast. You probably.
Look at this thing got to 130.
If it's going from like 87 down to 81, you're going to get your full amount of shares. Because it's got to fill you before he goes down lower, right?
Right,
so, once it starts going parabolic, it's like probably between, I bet you from 87 to 100, you might have been able to get like 20,000 shares.
Oh, really? Yeah, so what's funny is, while this is going on, I'm trading oil and spoos and all that sort of thing. And so I was oblivious to that, really. I just did a few opportunities of really name recognition. So, and Dash was, so sometimes it goes like that, but, you're always good to see your mate make money and a good trade. But look at that. So this is a 30-second chart. So this is pretty thin. So it looks on that, but we wanted to show you like that. Sorry?
So if you look at like last 2 or 3 of Dash's, these type of moves have happened, so that's why as soon as I saw it, I was on it.
Yeah. And I got it mixed up with Grub for some bloody reason.
Yeah, Grub's a lot different.
Yeah. It sounded the same to me, and I'll give you a little tip. I'm old school. I've never, ever, ever, ever bought food from this. Any of these. On principle. I have weird principles. I'm old school.
They're doing something right, I guess. People love them.
Yeah. Well, they look like they got good models work from. So looking at it technically, okay. So this is a 30-second chart. So Murray math, it got to plus 1/8 up the top here. So an 8/8 is where it first started. So you can up here was a decent sell. The other thing here, you had some really good divergence now. How much you can plan to stock this in the aftermarket where half the world's destroyed. I mean, there's a lot of dribblers, just all bloods in their bucket, right? So you don't know how many's in it, so you got to look at it. So you look at this volume. So this is all that volume Madhav was talking about. He's watching that order flow. You can see it. Does this say? I'm not sure how to do. But anyway. You see it, it's sideways, and then this volume here was capitulation. How do you know that? Negative divergence. Because look at the difference between this volume, so much lower, versus all this on the way up. So the important thing is, so you're trading sentiment, you're trading volume, you're trading price, right? Time and price. And that's everything we use. And these things move fast. Look, you're talking about a stock that moved 81 to 130. So if you're not happy with that, I'm happy with a couple of bucks out of that. But in the dribbler world, they thought everything was going to 500 or something. Don't be like that. And those days look, even if it goes to that, anything, it's a one-off event, even in the hallmark of it all, right? So, very special situation. So, let's see how this one comes tomorrow. But you can see when they go, and you saw it on the other card with Facebook and Roblox, how far they go down, right? So it goes both ways, these extensions. At the end, the rubber hits the road in these things. So, these are kind of one-off things. So let's look at the ones I did instead of it. Real quickly, and then we'll go back. I think that'll bring it up. Yeah, so Fastly, I just knew from something we'd traded many earnings away. Remember, we only trade these things on earnings. They're pure dribbles. People got lucky on them. They think they're the second coming. That's all it was. And what happened with it? The old Judas, right? So anyway, we saw it come out. The first trade I did on this was I banged it. We saw it real quick. We knew this is one. A real dribble means no money. Blah blah blah. Caught, and you saw the offer chasing it down. It had broken all these levels, and we're absolutely able to get the other way. Down here, and actually did a little idler reversal again. This is a 3-minute chart. And then someone started taking out offers. So basically on the way down, it was like a 350 trade, I think we pulled out of it. And then a couple on the way back. And you can see it went back down and new lows. So this is the bit that we shorted. We got out here and made this little bit here. And then it sold off again. So basically, the way down, it was. And by then, I'm done. I just did this down and up. I didn't do this. Obviously, could have made more, but we moved on. And here was when I was made aware what I so this is the bit that we missed out on Dash. So again, we're just trading muddle and sign. So hopefully you can see what we're doing. This is purely momentum and all this. There's not a lot of technical analysis in this sort of stuff, right? It's real value. You just want to know your previous levels, where people are. Even in this game and time, this is not going to be a big options one. And the other one was another blast from the past, Socket Mobile. Now, a lot of these...
Oh, man, I'm sure... what do you call it? Nvidia, taking, all that shit's all going out. Here.
So, Nvidia we're going to look at after this. So is that cash in the background there? Is it?
You want to know any stocks? You want to know anything? Dash is a good one. Dash kicking ass.
Who are we talking to there?
Meta Johnny.
Oh, Meta Johnny's called in from on his 7th tequila shot right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then we got
Hello, ladies and gentlemen.
There he is. You thought we were telling stories. So the good news, this is day 1. When he chimes in on day 7. He'll be speaking fluent Spanish again. So, anyway, so Socket Mobile, a lot of these stocks, we have a quick look at the earnings due. We pretty well see what we think are trash, dribblers, all their problems. If they do have a good number, we know that they're going to be either doing a secondary or a lot of people the hedgies will be putting back on their shorts or looking to get out. And you can see you had this one volume spike here, and we managed to get some short, not a lot down here. It actually got over 560, and then it, as you can see, it dribbled down to the 450 area down here. So that was a buck out of that. So it was a pretty nice trade, actually, mate, percentage-wise. And you can do size. It's all relevant, right? So in other words, you do your homework before you come in and you see what's there. So Nvidia is, everyone knows their Nvidia, big one. They actually had pretty good earnings. They always do. But a lot of these things, remember, buy the rumor, sell the facts. A lot of this stuff's built in. Obviously, high risk. A lot of people aren't going near some of these stocks. I read that it was the biggest sellout of tech stocks, I think, from BA. We got a report from B of A. I want to say ever, but we use this word ever a lot now. This was a very strange period. Everything's going to be ever, right, at this point. Anyway, let's have a look at this little beauty. So here's Nvidia. Look at that range. 250 to 275 after earnings. You already, I guess we can walk you through where we were. Where we are. We all know this. We have it on our weekly. It's one of the main ones we watch. So there's our daily chart. We've come back from that low. Did it where it almost got to 200. 200's here. And we bounced. So we bounced all the way back up here to test this trend line. And guess what? That was near the high here. at 270. Really, if you're looking technically, this was a buy here when it got back up over the Cajun. The Chico. Come back from that low. And that's it. So you know where you are on that. It's okay. Madavi, I didn't actually trade this one. I was in. By then, oil was heating up again. Do you want to walk us through this one?
Which one, Mick?
Nvidia. I'll put it on a 30-second chart.
So, after getting the wonderful dash, I thought Nvidia is usually the star of the show. If you trade the stock,
Oh, yeah, no, I did trade Nvidia. I did trade it. I forgot.
Everybody loves that thing. Highest...
Nvidia.
The biggest semiconductor company.
It's the coolest, right? The gaming and all that sort of
They got
stuff.
some stuff going on, so I think, but they're losing favor this time. I seen it going down. I was like, man, this is weak. But it's done this before. So I got it at like 251.30, and then it went up to 275. I didn't sell it. I could have sold out of it. Because I see what happened to the dash, I didn't want to let my gold go, And it dropped back down to 259.
You got that at 251, didn't you? Because I bought it like a lot higher than you. Yeah.
Yeah, I got a 251. I could have got a 275. I wrote it back down to 258, 259. I added more to it, and I sat in it for 3 hours. Didn't do nothing to get out at 259.50. Then I was like, man, this thing's weak. So I'm short now and waiting for it to crash. Hopefully it breaks the lows.
Right. So all I did on this, people, is pure momentum, and so I got in long after Madavi. Like, I think you bought 251 and change. I got in 261.
Tanking.
Sorry?
It started tanking down, just like so that's why I was like, hey, maybe this is another dash. The way it was tanking down, I was like, this setting this thing up for another dash moment.
Right, so all I did was I did the 261 and I sold at 272.40. So, quick momentum trade, and I never looked at that again, actually. So.
I thought he was taking the quick money. I wanted to big it didn't work out.
Yeah, I was like a thief in the night on that
That's
one.
because I missed dash. I left 16 points on dash. So I wanted to try to get it. I thought this one was going to give it to me all.
Well, I guess I looked at it more like I missed $40 on that dash. So potentially, not that knowing me, I wouldn't have held it. Spoos are getting sold off a bit here, people in the.
What do you call it? On the short side,
I was like in the night. Right. Well, just to update on what's going on live right now. Oil is down at 89.24.
So a bunch of NQs.
Yeah, NQs and SPUs. We have both of us have short swings on that, as you know, off that tanking. But Russell, SPUs, and NAS are all at their lows of the evening.
That means it's Nvidia because it's a big weighted in.
Yeah, it's in all of those. Well, two of those indexes. NQs and SPUs. We have both of us have.
Have you seen that stock Meta? Look what that thing did. Woo. You traded that today, mate.
But Russell. Meta? I didn't do that. It was what was it called? Meta. I forgot about that. We did do it.
Yeah, I didn't trade that, but you traded when that thing was down like 40% or something.
So I'll give you a tip what's going on here, why oil's reacting because of different reasons. But the President of America, one Joseph Biden, who you may know of, it's just the drums of war are quite dramatic. So the reason we just had this move of 10 handles down on the S&P, and obviously more than that on the tech stocks, is because the Biden administration has just made, so this came out 9 minutes ago, has accused the Russian claims of the temporary withdrawal as being false, and basically, or not basically, has accused Putin, president of Russia, and Lavrov as both making false claims. So I'll read you verbatim what they said, just so we're not mixing words. This is a statement from the U.S. administration led by President Joe Biden. Yesterday, the Russian government said it was withdrawing troops from the border with Ukraine. They received a lot of attention from that claim, but we now know it was false. They don't believe it was false or speculate it's false. They know it was false. That's the statement. So, you've also got, yesterday the Russian government said it was... I mean, at the end of the day, I think we know our views on this, but of what's going on as far as wag the dog, inciting, redirecting, whether it's true or not, it's almost like you're goading someone into it's constant fear, redirection, war. I mean, there's different interesting conspiracies on this. But end of the day, that's what's coming out. So the truth of the matter, as far as the Ukraine goes, what we do know, and following this for a long time, through all that region, is that part of the Ukraine is Russian, ethnic Russian, same as just across the border in Russia. The bulk of it is ethnic Ukrainian, and there's some mixed, I don't mean mixed race, that sounds terrible. I just mean the region isn't 100% like Russian or Ukrainian. So they broke away, we know the Crimea, we know all that. Since then, there's been constant civil unrest, civil fighting, militias, people killed. Personally, to fill you in, I know people on both sides of that ethnicity through work I've done with rugby league, and there was a number of and they all got along, by the way, fine. Both regions, ethnicities played. I do know of, not directly but indirectly, people that I know played. I think it was 6 guys actually that played on the Russian side got killed by the Ukrainians back in the day. So it does go both ways. That has been unrest, so it's not BS when Putin says that region. But of course, both of them are tangled. We all know what Vladimir Putin's about, blah, blah, blah. But all we're getting is a constant inciting when it's convenient by the US administration to make noise about it, when if they had issues with it. And we're also, obviously everyone knows about the whole Biden thing with his son, with Ukraine. That's well aware over there, and the gloating about getting a prosecutor fired, right? So we don't need to go on it too much, but we just be mindful of the news you're getting out. So if the war happens, think about all that. And if it doesn't happen, you're going to get a US president gloating that he saved the world from World War III. So let's be realistic what's going on, right? So we don't need to it's a moving process. So that could have been handled a lot better than making Russia an enemy, right? 4 years of creating that. So there's lots of views on that. And that's why the market's reacting what it is. Either way, there's plenty of other reasons for this being a bear market. We had 9.7% PPI yesterday, right? 7.5% CPI last week. We have Fed minutes today. Yeah, and what's interesting, they were pretty red hot talking about inflation and that. Because I didn't say matter-of-factly that we're raising half a point, that was taken as dovish by the dribblers. So at the end of the day, you've got all this. You've got a lot of big option positions, got a big futures positions. You have a lot of big stock positions. Most of these derivatives are not pure punt. We went through that yesterday. A lot of them are hedging. There's massive positions out there by people like Fidelity and Blackstone that they're investments in the sense that it's for people's 401ks or whatever, right? So it's just hedging that. So let's be realistic with some of the dribbler comments out there. Are just constant, the same thing over and over. You're like, give it a bloody rest, right? So that, and all that does is make you more and more angst, right? And then people say you shouldn't, on CNBC there was a comment that you shouldn't look at the market now. If you looked at it in the middle of January, then it came better at the end of January. Well, it depends what you're in, and it depends what your risk tolerance is. depends what age you are when you want to take that out. I mean, so it isn't a blanket comment. Anyway, we got off track there as I started to fiddle around in the futures while we were doing the podcast, Madonna. So anyway, apologise for that, getting off track, but that's important stuff. So Nvidia, you can see your shorts working pretty good there, mate.
Hey, mate, can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you. Fine.
Hey, I think Biden should stick with, domestic affairs, like giving out the pipes to his citizens, the great citizens that he's doing.
I did see that. Is that true or fake news?
100% true.
Wow.
If you like to smoke the finest, Biden's got you a pipe, and I bet your son helped him pick the right ones out for you special.
Hard but fair. But it is striking what is going on and just the breakdown of everything, right? So that's what's going on. That was what that quick fall was. Kind of an aggressive comment. I mean, no one wants war, that's for sure. I mean, there's a reason it's called blood stocks, blood oil. One thing I just saw is Japan just dropped their export numbers up 9.6%. So there is quite a good things. JP Morgan also just dropped a note maybe 20 minutes ago saying they expect 7 Federal Reserve rate hikes this year. The highlights of that minutes are all on Traders Community by, I think it's all easy to find anyway. Areas.
I'm checking on this Nvidia call.
The Nvidia call's going on right now?
Yeah. It's starting to... I've never seen Nvidia in the last 3 years look like this after its earnings. So there's something.
Yeah, they have been... Well, and yeah, it just shows you it has changed a lot. So, you got to laugh at this. So, Boris Johnson just came out and did a call. You got to see the photo. I don't know. Can I share this?
Boris Johnson.
Let me see.
Yeah, I love that guy.
Oh, mate. He's got the best haircut I've ever seen. So, this is a tweet. If you can all see it, punters. And investors, don't look at this or you'll sell everything you own in England. So, Boris Johnson just did a tweet from his official account and says, the UK and Australia are the closest of friends and historic allies. Well, that's probably just because Australia just pounded England in the biggest, if not the biggest, trouncing in cricket, which is the major sport, summer sport there, like baseball in the US, in what's called the Ashes 4-0. Some people say that was the most pathetic, weakest English side ever. Bit harsh, but all I know is Australia pounded them. Anyway, you can see the look at him. Have a look at that head, dear. And he's waving hello. So, anyway, so that's out. A bit of fun. I don't know what the actual thing was about it, what they're talking about. But obviously, Australia's moved on a long way from being a part of the colonial aspect with trade. The major trading partners, obviously, England. Sure, the Queen. Queen's a good old lady. So that's a lot of speculation. What happens when the Queen passes? Does it become William or Charles? Obviously won't be Prince Andrew. Sorry, I couldn't resist. That one.
He's going to be back in the spotlight now. He doesn't have nothing else to look over his shoulder at.
Yeah. What a mess that was. What a silly man. So, well, we've looked at those. Now, the other one, you reminded, we actually traded Cisco, both of us, and we traded them pretty similar. So, Cisco is one of those stocks. Intel's another that obviously very much blue chip, big part of everyone's portfolio. Well, not being everyone, not us, but a lot of funds. So we have a little bit of noise here. We have Johnny dialing in from Cancun with himself and his wife doing the tequila shots by the sound of it, listening in. But anyway, all jokes aside, the way we've always traded some of these blue chip stocks that do have the market makers in them, so you know their positions, you come prepared with where the open interest is. And so this one gapped up, and we just did basically almost identical trade. We sold this spike over 77.50. We actually got lucky and sold some way up here. And then basically you just try to get the momentum out of it. I think we got about 80 cents each, roughly, right? But so all we're trading is this spike. So we had no interest in buying, remember, just looking traditionally kind of the same as that socket mobile. You sell the spike, and your risk factor, your stop management is how that momentum or it keeps getting chased up. You already know where the hedges are, right, on optionality on these big stocks. And the other one, and I didn't trade this, but Madavi did, was the car company, Fisker. I think it's FSR. Right?
You know, I seen it coming on CNBC. Sorry, I got this thing on.
Oh, you listen to the Nvidia? No worry.
Okay, it's all good. I'm turning it off. So it came out, and you know, I seen it. The guy who makes the car was on TV. It started running up. That stock was at $9. Met a Johnny, you know, was the lucky guy. He had it and sold out right before his vacation, so he could feel comfortable. And replace it with roadblocks.
Yeah, and we'll have a little look at those roadblocks charts in a second.
But roadblocks is a nice pick, Johnny.
Stick to the tequila, Johnny. So anyway, we got Fisker here. So I believe very similar again, right? You're selling that spike. This is an EV company that doesn't make money, nice car, all that. Rivian's a nice car too, right? But you gotta be real, right? So when did Tesla turn around? When that one earnings, when they made their first profit, and that's where it all took off. And they're obviously more than a one-trick pony too. So here we are, Fisker. So that was that one. What was the other? Was that it? That's the 6 stocks I think we did. 5 between us. While we're at it, let's have a look at roadblocks. So one thing you've noticed. So back in the big run, the dribbler heyday, a lot of these stocks would fall and then go flying back up, right? Now you can see what's happening is there isn't that money because it's been lost, right? In obvious. So Roblox itself just dribbled down all day today, down to 53.80. And I want to say I had this as an IPO in the 70s, I think. I think it was 70 odd. Can't really remember. I think so. But I do remember selling it over 120 odd. So yes, it's a familiar one. We knew it was hot. Blah, blah, blah. It got a second coming, if you like, with that whole metaverse thing. But at the end of the day, they don't make money. There is the fact that a lot of the reason it went up was because of the COVID thing. And secondly, the metaverse thing, which our view is that's all about trying to change the narrative over at Facebook from all their problems with pretty well every country in the world, and people are finally saying, you know what, you can't have all our data and misuse it. So it was a redirection of that. What they basically call the metaverse is just digital, been around since Adam. It's improving. So I think Roblox is unfairly put into that. It's basically just a gaming company that's very popular with children, like youth, and basically under teens, if not that, even under 12, under 11. So there is a huge consolidation phase there. I don't see it as a worthless company. I haven't looked at them so much, but obviously it's way overvalued, like most of these things. So that's where we are with that one. Any other questions for people want us to look at before we look into oil and gas? Okay.
Did you bring in Cisco? Or you already
we did Cisco, yeah, because I walked through how we basically did the same trade on that. Just sold the spike.
I got out of Cisco early so I could go get a Nvidia. You know?
Nvidia, yeah. Well, we both did. And to give you an idea, here's a good example of not using your time properly and money. So Madavi, we sold around the same price. Well, I'll bring it up. There's no point me not showing it. So if you look at this, but I can't remember the exact levels, but whatever it was, I'm out at 56.80, say. And I go, why? It's still getting given. He says, Nvidia's about to drop. And I go, okay. And so I waited literally 30 seconds probably. Got it a better price there of, 12 cents maybe, right? And then he goes, Nvidia's out. I'm long, 251. I go over, type it in. And me typing it in, it was $10 higher, right? And then that was at scalp, whenever that was. Where was it? You can see the time over there, and that's 3 minutes, 30 seconds. But anyway, I'm guessing, yeah, so it's in here. So this is where he's got 10.51. The difference from me not being prepared, still getting out of that Cisco, because you're going to watch these stocks, right? Which was that whole reason I unfortunately didn't do Dash. So you're watching them. That spike is $10 different from 20, 30 seconds. So if you have 1,000 shares, it's $10,000. If you have 100 shares, it's $1,000 difference. So perhaps, though, that made me get out. I don't know, the scalp. It's all psychological momentum reaction. But so that's a good trading tip there.
You got to know when to cut it, and somewhere you might lose a little bit here, but you gain a lot in the next one if you get the timings, everything.
Yeah, and so you don't know what it's going to do for sure, but you got to give yourself a chance. So there's a good example of 20 seconds is all it took, right? Yeah. And that's why we have a big problem with dribblers and all this. I mean, you got to be that intense and that at it in these markets. Through the day, through that, and training, it's not a joke. We don't treat it as a joke when we're trading. So it does get pretty intense at times, but it's all love and warfare, right? It's a way, mate.
We're convincing each other to go in each other's stocks. That's why mate was getting mad at me. Dad.
You're right. I
go, no, mate, I got the best one. He's like, no, I love mine. I'm like, all right. He's like, getting mad. So
that was the Dash one, right? But
I was like, no, mate, I think you can combine all yours together. This one will be a better one. He's like, no, mate. I'm like, all right.
Well, should we compare notes in the video? But anyway, I digress.
I'm still in it. I could have made a lot more, but I got greedy because of that.
Yeah, I've never been accused of that, which is good.
The video was a perfect trade. I'm still up on it, even though I had to go back and forth a couple times, gave some back.
Well, that sold off nicely with that Biden comment, as you can see. And so I'm looking at a different screen here. So let me show you what I'm actually seeing on the other computer. So this is what we're seeing live right now. So I forgot sometimes I forget what I'm sharing with people. So this is Biden, bang. We're pushing up, bang. So that's 12 handles on the SPUs. Oil, you can see, is all been coming off. So let me talk. Sorry?
Nvidia's starting to drop now hard.
Yeah, I see that now, down 258.
Mate, see, just telling you.
Yeah, well, I got the future. That's good enough. So 259 right now. And so this level, you should be short anyway, or flat off your technicals and what we've talked about. And so this shouldn't be a surprise. So if you're long here and bitching at old Joe, Uncle Joe, or whatever the old fellas, whatever his colloquialism is, you can't blame the bloke for everything, right? I mean, you can for most things, but jokes aside. And as far as oil goes, you can't blame the bloke there or Iran because that was the top of that weekly channel. We don't get out there, mate. I'm not going to tell you whether to buy or sell, but we will share what we're looking at. And we put out those weekly oil charts for a reason, right? And other people like Tracy and all that are really good, that you see on that weekly report. Very similar. Eric, Greg, all these people that are out there from commodity showed you all those oil numbers and the optionality in that weekly the thread that comes out every week. So if you're not an oil trader, follow that. You'll learn stuff from these guys that'll help you in what else you trade. We're talking about pure professional traders. That's their life. That's their living. Done it for years, big shots, right? And that's what you want to listen to.
Oh, mate, we forgot the biggest trade yesterday, last night I did. It was really good. Shopify. That's
that was this morning you did.
Yeah, this morning I was trading out. It got a doozy me a little bit, but I recovered. But
Well, let's have a look at that one. Let's go back.
Yeah, you got to show them that shop. That thing was really good. And this is in the middle of the night I'm trading this thing, by the way.
Yeah, I'm sleeping. I got a half a brain. Anyhow, boom.
When stocks are moving, I tend to, like, money don't sleep, so I figured, you got to get it when stocks are hot.
Well, yeah. Let's have a look at it.
I did an Uzi, and I got stuck, and I had to work my way out of it, and it took me a while.
So this is Shopify. Wow.
Oh,
So this is, am I correct on this? Yep. So this is today. So they dropped their earnings. They did, for technical analysis, that's a classic island reversal. Major topping pattern, as we all know.
That was a darling special.
Yeah, wow. So, I don't trade this. I don't think I've ever traded it. 906, what was that high there? What's it say it was? $950 or something? Anyway, so I'm guessing the earnings dropped. It's thin. And then it just got sold off hard and hard and hard. Look at that. And really, that was only 6. So it didn't even get. It only got down to -1/8 here, which is 719. Wow.
The mistake I made with that thing is, I got into it. I thought I was going to be safe, so I was down like 80, 90 points, and I got into it. And that thing dropped like another 40 points.
Yeah.
Yeah. By the time I tried to get out there, it was like it looked like you dropped you off from space.
Wow, that's quite the. I forgot about that one. And look where. So here's one thing what you should look at. So this is their earnings. Look at this. All this move here from 960 to right here, which is probably the open, of the market. There was basically no volume. Look at the volume down here. So all this volume came in here. So if you were caught on this, you had no one to sell it to. Man. So keep an eye, remember of that. So, particularly the dribbler needs to be aware. There isn't a market maker to bail you out anymore, right?
No.
He got no interest in this stock.
I think it was probably not working on great sleep or something because I wanted to trade that. But it was down 80, so I think I wanted to be safe on this, and I made the mistake of not appropriately having the size I should have for that position at that time, and that's what really rung me in.
In fact, the only time I swore today, which is pretty good for me, was Darby goes, "Dude, what are you doing?" I said, "Look, I'm trading oil and natty gas." And he goes, "Man, you got to trade shop." And I thought he said Spotify, right? I said, "What have they done now? Has Joe Rogan gone and done something again, or Neil Young?" He goes, "No, shop." And I put it up and I went, "Are you kidding me?" I looked at that and went, and I really I don't know too much about this company other than what they are, obviously, but I've been,
They're like a turnkey store, but on the website, the market.
Yeah, they're kind of like an Amazon-y sort of thing, yeah.
It's okay if you want to get up and run. So when the virus was going on, all these people working at home, they were making all these stores.
Right, Etsy.
Credit cards ready to go.
Yeah. Which you can do, by the way, through your bank, so.
But
100%. But what a fall. That's $200. So here's the thing. You can see the fact that these stocks are moving like this is the fact that this could be a bear market, major top, is not sinking into the majority. That's why we've gone out of our way to label the community well, I don't mean our community, but the whole investment world into investors, traders, punters and dribblers. Because it's very important to recognize that. These markets have changed.
Adrenaline junkies.
Yeah, I mean, so just look at this stock. So this is, it's run from $300. Well, actually, from $219, it ran from under $100 by the look of it. It's run all the way to nearly $1,800. So it fell obviously hard. And then we had, it doesn't look like much on here, but you can see that green spug was pre-earnings, and this is earnings. This is a weekly chart, right? This is this week. So when you see $200 moves, that is a big move. But when people are trading one or two shares, and that's what a lot of the dribble action is, they don't look at this and they're not recognizing what's going on. So around November here, I was done with stocks, remember? I've seen this before. I know how this ends. You don't know the exact time, the price. But we made a very, very big point on, I think we had the YouTube going then, of what was going on at the end of the year. And we kind of got mocked for it. But lo and behold, window dressing. And anyone that tells me it all came from the minutes, and they try to make excuses when they lost here, and I'm keeping Shopify up here because all the dribbles did it, then they didn't listen to the Fed here. They didn't listen to the stuff us from the pro world are trying to tell, right? And it was all there in the options. It was all there in bonus. It's all there in history. And they're blaming it. That tells me they got no bloody idea. They got to have an excuse for every reason they lose. I mean, Powell had said what he was going to do.
That's for sure.
And you were mentioning that about Tesla too. Elon Musk was telling way behind, which he had to do.
He's the greatest.
Yeah. I mean,
he tells you how he's going to give it to you, and everybody's right there with a smile. Give me more.
Right. And so the SEC can't be saying, "Look, mate, you're doing anything bodgy." He went way beyond, you know.
Yeah, he was. I'm overpriced. Everything.
Yeah, he did the whole kit and caboodle.
Oh, bro, he went through disclosures and everything.
Yeah, he didn't. I mean, so at the end of the day, be very wary of people that hang themselves out as something, you know. And we had an interesting call with a data provider today and with a software provider that we're going to be doing stuff with purely for members of the community, right? And so I'll give you, and they've got kind of the same ideology as we do.
Is that like the PIPE program?
The which one?
Is that like Biden's PIPE program, or is that?
No, we're not giving them to the crack users. But, as you know the deal. But the whole point is a like-minded thing to give the investor trader the best chance without the bullshit at prices, right? And so, and I'm not saying it to sound like we're some, like the Salvation Army or something, but we just want to pass this stuff on to the people actually support us and believe. And by that I mean no profit or anything like that. I think you'll like what you see, but it also gives you a chance to follow what we're doing and the software we use and all that sort of stuff and different ones. As you know, we use different ones. So anyway, that sort of stuff will help you and get you disciplined and all that. And at the end of the day, as I've said, it's all about your mind. This game's all mental. So anyway, let's go through crude. So crude has been setting up perfectly for these trades. We all know the length. The hardest thing is getting out of a good trade and staying in it as long as you can. So the reason we kind of harp on a little about the dribbler thing, and it's a little bit of fun, as too, obviously, but is it can create a false illusion of the way things are. And that's what happens with all that free money, and Powell and all that know it. They get, what were they meant to do, and they're left with it. Obviously, those Fed governors that knew what it meant and sold all their holdings at the top, they knew what was going on. Anyway, They were pretty good trading right there, right? I mean, how unethical is all that? But more concerning is how that's accepted. It's okay.
I would find it unethical because they're allowed to do it.
Right, well, that's the thing. They were allowed. So, yeah, so it's not unethical in that sense, but morally it's like it is taking part of it. So, anyway, let's have a look at oil here. We've talked about this. We put out these. Hopefully you read the weekly. I notice it's starting to really get shared and a lot of hits and all that sort of stuff. So they're we do get pretty simple because machines is what run it. Humans are very replicable. They tend to follow each other. They all want a pat in the back. Us versus them, all that kind of nonsense. So knowing all that, you want to keep it black and white. Very simple stuff on oil. This weekly channel. Right, and this also fit in with Murray, as you can see, here and here, right? Major optionality, 95 was a massive level on this, and a few bucks up on Brent. So, we were not long anymore. We made that point pretty clear. We're not telling you what to do, whatever. Buy puts if they're cheap, which we did a lot of stocks. And if you want to keep it, you buy protection, right? So anyway, you should have been prepared, and then you don't know what's going to happen. We got a fair bloody idea. This one's pretty easy. We've given the view on the geopolitical aspect on Ukraine, both sides of it. Iran deal, we knew. We've all been talking about it for a while. It's been talked about. Biden's a desperate man, basically. Whether it doesn't matter whether you're right or wrong. You're a trader. It doesn't matter if you're pro-Iranian or Persian, or if you're anti-Biden, pro-Biden, you're a warmonger or whatever you may be. At the end of the day, you're trading, and you got to look at it very clinical, right? So that's what we're presented. We're presented there. So we have the EIA number today. This is 30 seconds, so that's too fast to show it. So we have the EIA number. It pushes up again. So here we are, mate. Sorry. So we have the EIA. It was a build. This is, again, all on Around the Barrel on the website. It was a build. The bearish sides of it, the bullish sides for the commodity were Cushing. It's back at a 2018 low. We know SPR has been sold off to 20-year lows. So that was a big draw, but it was actually less than expected. And someone asked us, so we'll get on Twitter a little bit around oil and gas, because that's kind of where people know us and futures and stuff. But anyway, that comes out, they ignore it. It was already starting to sell off. Why? Because the minutes are out. People take their profits, good shorts. I mean, we did a few plays we talked about. We bought Halliburton and P10 options. Puts very, very cheap, really. I mean, and lo and behold, at the end of the day, you got to kind of buy these things when you can, not when you have to. Important thing. We'll see how that plays out. But so you're really just taking profit. You don't have to go short either, remember? You mean do it. If you are, just protect yourself. Take profit. There's nothing wrong with taking profit. You're not an oil company, right? You're not an oil producer. So people forget that. These are just commodities and you're a speculator. Let's be real. So anyway, easy sell. Then the deal drops. We got word of it around here. 93.50. We're already short of this technically. So often, so when news comes out, if you're the right way, so if it's a bearish thing and it's bearish news, it's going to make it go further than it just helps it on its way. And if it's bullish news, it's not going to go up as much, right? That's the whole concept a lot of people miss when the gamma plays and all this on stocks, right? So keep that in mind. We got that out fairly. Obviously, if you're in the room with us, you get it in. We're instantly. And it's really just us, really, yelling at each other. And a couple of oil blokes that are on the Discord and everything. But even that, we were able to fortunately get this out pretty early. But we heard the talk of it's been going on for a bit, right? Then it became official. Did Reuters break it? Who broke that? I can't remember. Someone. But look at that. From there, that's a $2 fall, $3 fall. And if you're an equity trader, oil and gas trader, the stocks take a long time to react because it's kind of like the best traders are trading bonds, commodities, Forex. Stocks kind of your last one out of the way it works in these banks, right? Except as Madavi pointed out, they're going to put their best guns on their money games like Apple and stuff like that. So anyway, you had plenty of time to get a good positions on your Exxons and all that. I mean, think like that when you're a trader. You don't have to trade oil, trade related. If you are trading something affected, adjust. Sorry, mate. Go ahead.
I didn't say anything.
Oh, sorry. You're still listening to the video. So you can see clinically, technically, it's a beautiful trade. Real easy trade too. Plus 2.8. So let's look at because I got this on a different computer today. So
yeah, mate got hacked.
Yeah, it could have got hacked. If it is, there's an old saying out there: never hack an Estonian.
He brought
Even Vladimir Putin knows that one. Even Vladimir Putin doesn't do that.
H&N, and the guy paid him his dues.
yeah, there may be some issues there, eh? Actually, I think can I show you the futures? I think I may.
I'm gonna stay short futures.
No, I'm talking about Natgas. I think I gotta use
I'm
US.
there. You know that.
Yeah, no, I'm just trying to after hours, which is the one I can share.
Yeah. I'm just waiting for the Nvidia hit $48. I cash out, then I'll be just like me hitting over 70. I've been added more size to it, by the way. Just waiting for that 48 to hit.
You're just trying to make me do the trade. I know how you are.
Well, you're a rich guy, see?
Not me, mate. Good working class boy. So anyway, we digress. I'm trying to see which one's live. Sorry, peeps. That because there is a weird thing I noticed on oil. I know oil's doing it. It was actually. Sorry, let's go back to this. Oh, I see what it's doing. It's going to MC. What the heck's MCX? Does anyone know what that is?
Uh-oh.
It's got a Mexican flag on it, so we don't want that one.
You got.
Well, it's just on the chart. This isn't on the one on the. Yeah, they're like a different product. So yeah, it helps if you look at the Pioneer.
Over here, mate. Let me know.
Henry Hub. There we go. I don't know how I kept missing that. So, as you know, where Henry Hub is near here. So, this is pretty bloody impressive, this natural gas. I got to give it to it. I mean, Natty is one of those things that it'll always surprise you. So, let me see what, it's NG1. There you go. I thought it. So, we can look at NG1. Okay. So, NG... Yeah, I just got confused with the quiet period in showing you. And this isn't a normal platform we use. So let's get all NG up. And it's kind of good to see how we find it, right? So you can do the same thing. So anyway, here's our daily pennant. So there's a theory, it's called the Adams theory, which was, I forget his first name, but it was a fractal replication. I'm a big believer in fractals. And actually, the first person I ever learned that from was Tudor Jones, believe it or not. And then I was directed to read some books about it many years ago. So basically, spit's a spit. Most brokes are false. Most powerful moves what's called a spit of a spit. And a spit is what we named it originally. So you can see here, and they tend to replicate. So you can see this here is replicated pretty well here. The spit, false break. Prechter calls this a throw over if it's an Elliott wave. Anyway, so we talked about this the other day, how powerful these were, and it got back. And look, it hasn't looked back. You see that? And here we are. And so these are big moves, people. That's 70 cents on this contract. Big percentage move, big points. And this is one, I've had some dribblers say they trade this. And I call BS on it. And sure enough, we were right, Madavi. But, because these move and they're very speculative on weather. And so if the weather goes the other way, that's a lot to do with it. So technically, you look at it to see what's going on, and it's more, you don't know if it's going to keep going. You don't know if it doesn't keep going, but the trade is when it comes back inside, right? Talking about false breaks and all the optionality that's done there. I mean, I know option people that do 10,000 lots of this at a time. And that's changed a lot from back in the day, but there's still significant amounts. So that delta needs to be covered as well, right? So, and we all know how that industry's growing bigger and bigger around the world with exports and all that. So on the weekly, same thing, barely a nudge. See, here's the reason. So we go weekly, daily, back. Weekly, it never actually broke down, see? It just touched. So it's inside this pennant, right? Which gives you, again, we mark this as a 3 or a 5, right? This top. And now if we look at 3 today, look how it's traded, right? These are big moves, right? And so you also got to be aware of the seasonality of these contracts, what month is trading, and where most of because you're not actually, it depends if you're trading spreads, you're a producer or a user versus a speculator, right? So be very wary of the spreads. I mean, March, April is legendary in natural gas for blowing people up and making it. I know of one story that's no BS of a major fund many years ago losing over $1 billion on one option guy. So that is all true out there. So you can see these patterns. You got that triangle. We keep it in tag. You got your Murray math when you're day trading it. And what works very well on natural gas is market profile. And that works very well on instruments that are day traded, for want of a better word. But it used to come from when they were pit traded. If you know the history of it, back from Stoudemire, I think was his name, back at Merrill in the 70s, long before our time. But we read about it. And you want to understand, if you're using a theory, understand the mindset of the person that came up with it. And they'll really work for you or they won't. It may not suit you. But don't do it just because some bloke who's probably never traded, do it. You ask a guy who uses it and then go and do your research. It's real important in any of them, Gans, the Murrays, the Ichimoku, all of them. And that'll get you in the mindset of the more esoteric. And remember, trading is an art, not a science. So you want to think of it from that point of view. And, no jokes about science. Yeah. I'll leave that alone. I think we've covered everything we wanted to cover, didn't we? We did all the futures, the index futures. Russell, I didn't, just here's a 3-minute. So the positions we came in, yes, overnight, the Apple puts and the IWM puts, covered pretty well sharply 15 minutes into the open. And today, that worked out pretty well perfectly. I recall yesterday got out too early, but if you're consistent and you're making money on those, and that's what you're trading them for that situation. And didn't do a lot of trades today. Did we go through the spoos? I think we did. On that, because it was inside those levels, right? So I'm not a fan of churning and all that. Today was a really good day for oil and natural gas trades. It's kind of cool when they go opposite directions because it tends to make you stay in them. Anything you got? Anything there, Madavi?
Yeah, today was starting out good. You know, I got and it wrecked me at the end of the day in the futures. I think these futures could wreck you, especially. I pretty much, like I said, I still think we're in a bear market, and these moves just proved it to me more. And I don't know, I should get out of that psychology or what, but I was doing good until that Fed meeting thing came up, and it kept on running, and it ran. And so I'm still, me and my MQs they're not going to take them away from me. I'm just going to get them away, and it's either going to be all or none at this point. But I got the market going.
He is joking, of course, but yeah, you have a view and a structure, and you trade in that direction. But yeah, you risk.
So I got the momentum going on my side. I did my calculations, and I'm taking some pain. Well, it makes you feel alive sometimes.
Well, what in all seriousness, in these types of markets, you don't want to get put through the pop-ton corn, and you want to have you need to have a view and a structure if you're a trader. There's different types of trader. If you're just a pure day trader, that's fine, but make sure you stay to that. I see so many from the dribbler persuasion. The punter will tend to get out during the day to stay trader, or just a trader, right? But so many of them, they go from a trade becomes an investment. That's our age-old joke. Remember back in the day? Oh, yeah, God, that's an investment. Or actually, I say that's a tax loss.
If you put in a popcorn machine, I have been there where I had a great position on, and I got put in a popcorn and trade, and then I got in the worst position I could be on, just because something happened.
Yeah, and so what happens, and if you don't have that, and if you're trading like that, what often happens in that situation, it might only move, the spoos might move 10 handles, but you've done 5 or 7 trades and lost 2, made 2, lost 2, instead of having a view. And sometimes, if it's inside that 2 or 4 in Elliott speak, you just don't trade. Or you trade off the base or the height of what the next wave is, right? So,
I mean, there's been times where the futures must not move more than 10, 15 handles, but I had my biggest losing days.
Right. And you need to almost experience that, or it sounds not possible. And that's why I kind of harp on a little bit about taking notes from people that don't trade, or the psychology, or how actions work, because you get slippage, you get everything. Particularly in options, I've seen so many people say they've been filled on options and all this, and I'm like, well, hang on, I'm in that, and I can't get hit, and I kind of know what I'm doing, and I kind of have good market makers on me, right? And how many times we've seen that? And then, so look at your time and sales and all that. But Darby always reminds me when people come in, mate, look at, he'll text me. Oh, I wondered how that happened.
But anyways, I like to tell you guys my mistakes, because I already paid for them, and maybe I'll save you guys some money. But
yeah. That's a good example.
A lot of people don't like to tell you about their bad trades. I don't mind telling you about my bad trades,
In fact, the way I look at it is those that, well, first, if you never lose, you're full of it. And any big trader, like a big trade, like anyone that hasn't been run over severely is telling porky pies, right? Because that's how you learn. Because if you're at that level, you got an ego, you got pride. You got to then learn to pull in that ego and realize you're not. They call it the God complex. So these are all things of trading, and that's why I'm so big on the technical framework, because it forces that on you, right? Sorry, mate. Go ahead.
Those bad trades, just like your good trades, are a badge of honor. Those are your badge of dishonor. But you paid for that lesson, so you want to be sure you remind yourself of it and talk about it, so you don't just forget it, because you just paid a lot of money for that lesson. And you don't want to forget it.
Right. And that's your tuition. Like the School of Hard Knocks, I used to call that, not in the trading world, but in the business world, right?
I never had anything easy. I always had, it was either hard knocks or...
Yeah. And so you gotta, and that shapes you and finds out your trading style, what you're going to try. There's some stuff like there's a joke with Shopify. I'm never going to trade that ever, am I? I mean, never. It's not my. I don't have any form of edge in that whatsoever. You know.
Makes it look so easy. I'm like, damn, why is mine always so hard?
Yeah, we got chunked around today a bit on the spoos. That's why I mentioned it. And I was like,
I was doing good. I mean, after the debacle and Shopify, everything else, and yesterday I was like looking, I was coming in like a pearl, and I came in with cans ringing in.
Well, yeah. So as I said, when we get to it. When I keep saying this, we're going to move more towards the mental aspect is the most important thing. So we're kind of going a little bit hard describing what we do and then on things to avoid. But we're going to bring in and not. So you don't. So look, I'll just put it like this: the best traders I've seen have a sports background, a professional competitive sports background. I'm assuming everyone at a certain level's already got the education and the skills and the math skills, very important. But the discipline and the ability to come back from disappointment are so important in life, but in trading magnifies a lot of things. And if you don't have your mindset right, they can destroy you, right? So mentally.
About taking Taekwondo classes here and there.
Yeah. So
trying to compare them to me.
Right. So they made me laugh. I'm trying to be serious. So the what is the discipline that and the hardest experience it, and and the other flip, like this bloke was telling me today from this software company, how we live in our own little world a little bit. We're not big social medias, but a lot of futures and stocks, they promote themselves by, hey, you're going to get a Lamborghini, you're going to get all that, right?
You're going to get Taekwondo classes?
Hang on, my kids did Taekwondo. What are you talking about?
They're like talking to me like we're at the same level, like we did the same sport. I'm like, I don't think so.
Oh, Michael could probably roll you right now, just saying.
Oh, no, I mean, just saying.
I know, I'm just playing. I know what you're talking about.
In a dojo, in a cage, or a football stadium.
Well, I'm a lover, not a fighter.
I'm not a fighter. I just you tell me let's roll marbles, I'll start rolling marbles.
Let me see if we missed anything. What do we got out tomorrow? Tomorrow's Thursday, so people, you all know that's the natural gas number at 9:30. But tomorrow is also... So Thursday, unless there's a holiday, you're always going to get jobless numbers, the claims, the existing and continuous every Thursday. And they're a relevant number when we're looking at data, the Federal Reserve. So that's every Thursday. Natural gas is every Thursday, unless there's a holiday. And we do have a holiday on Monday. And we have one of the greatest days in the history of mankind on Friday. I'll just say that. And then, so what else do we have tomorrow? We got housing starts and building permits tomorrow. There was a housing number today. I think it was a housing price index, that came out a little bit slow. And there's a lot of mention about the rising of houses. The lumber chart we go through shows that. We got the Philly Fed out tomorrow. So focus on the inflation numbers and that and how the market is going to take it. You saw today we sold off immediately after the number and then came flying back after the number. Okay, so you can see what we're trying to show is we're early stages in all this bear market. Not saying it's going to collapse out of bed, but the reaction of some of these in thin markets are because of that. Right?
Music they blame it to are fake. Because look, they said they sold off because of Russia, right? Then Biden comes on, he made it sound like Russia was still invading. Nothing's changed, but the markets went up thousands of %.
Right, yeah. So it's how the market reacts, not how you think it should react. How the market reacts, and use your thing. And like people laugh at me. I ain't buying that. You know that. I mean, they don't make money, it's even more. And when people say, oh, this was at this, so what? It shouldn't have been up there. So be realistic of all these prices, whatever you trade. And think of it as a trader, because it's a trader's market. And what that means is they're running the market right now.
Well, it's just one more day before the final countdown. My days of glory.
Well, how long, many years we heard that? But in all seriousness, so hopefully you get something out of our ramblings. And thanks for the kind messages. And I guess we don't get a lot of not a love from the dribblers, do we? But anyway. So I'm going to leave you with crude at 89.21 right now here. S&P is at 44.60 and change. The NQ futures are at 14.569. We have 17 minutes left to go in the equity markets. So we have Shopify at 438.50, DoorDash 121, and what happened to Nvidia?
258.50.
Let me put that back up here. I don't think we have many people trade Shopify in it.
I'm just waiting for my Nvidia. It's got to break that 151. I got a 247. Anybody want to buy it? You guys can get it from me at 247.
So we're trading at 258.80 right now. Okay, people, thank you. I think we covered everything. If we didn't, it'll be on the website that goes with this. They put together a nice little thing of everything that happened in Europe, England, Asia. I got told to England isn't part of Europe anymore. I go, okay. So, and all that. So it's some good stuff. All the breakdown of the bond market, where the yields were and everything. We didn't spend too much on it today, but as you know, that's very key to everything and leading. Look at those spreads. Your Fed funds is about 50-50 for what do you call it? March for 50. So they will raise it, obviously, unless, nothing's ever obvious, I guess. But 25 min, 50 is a lot talking. So that's all there. So like it. If you like what we're doing, share it with your friends if you think it's useful or not. We appreciate that. And we will try and share anything that we think is valuable in your journey as a trader or an investor, a punter, and try to get you away from being a dribbler, right? Back into the other stages. Is that wrong? Anyway, that's it. No, nothing else really. Johnny, enjoy your fajitas. I will say I did enjoy them a lot more in Houston than Cancun. That's it. That's all from me. Anything else, guys? It thinks like we're all done, and we will see everyone tomorrow. Have all the best trading.
I'm done. I'm just checking out my stocks, and I got to go catch some appointments before the bell rings.
Right. Exactly. I'm all done and dusted for the day.
Tomorrow, great job. We'll kill it tomorrow. Always be killing it. Subscribe. Tell a friend. Tell a neighbor.
Pat your dog. Eat good food. And there we have it. Oil, pretty well. I think everyone knows the basis, the way we're shaped right now. Exactly. Okay, peeps. We'll catch you. We apologise for the technical situation we're in. We do have people working on it. They seem to have less clue than me, which is pretty bloody scary. So, see ya. Bye now.